the biggest hurdle is just getting started. Because once you get started, you hit a certain momentum that you just got to keep up.
It's just, I mean, I think I feel like niggas stop themselves, man.
Right.
It's like everything you want to do, all the tools to do it is right here.
Es-
It's right there in front of you.
Especially if they don't see
It's
like
cheap as
immediate
shit now
success
too.
too.
That's hell yeah. It's like where do you think Complex started? Like where do you think Travis started? Where do you think Tyler the Creator
Right.
started? Like people, I think it's the internet, but we can get into that later. My fault, y'all. I'm ranting
Bro,
already.
I was really about to be like, bro, not to be rude, but shut the fuck up. That's a good answer, dog.
Bringing you your favorite new MCs, it's Dormville!
What's good, everybody? It's Dormville. I'm your host, Mike Hood, with my co-host.
Backstage, man.
And we're sitting down today with rapper and producer Enoch. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I appreciate y'all having me on here.
Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know, Enoch straight out of North Carolina with the rest of the goats like Cole, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let them know. Let them know.
Yo, this man is a beat machine with the bars to match. Let's jump into this interview, bro.
Yo, to kick it off, let's start with a little bit about your early life. So, you started your music career at the age of like 14, which is pretty young to start building a career, in my opinion. Did you know that was something that you always wanted to do, or did you stumble across it?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, man, I came to North Carolina from Severn, Maryland, and it was about 20 minutes away from Baltimore. So I grew up real heavy on hip hop just because it was a part of the culture of where I stayed at. And so early on, it was really just like if you was gonna get out of the environment that I was growing up in, it was like you either gonna be an athlete or you gonna be a rapper. That's really the only two options that we saw that was actually like niggas actually getting the money that we thought was what we needed to get out of our
Mm-hmm.
environment. We like I was raised on buying your mama a crib once you get on, whatever getting on meant for you. So I mean, I was fucking with sports, but I was just like more drawn to the music. Like music had always had a tug on me ever since I was doing Sunday choir in church. So I took that and took kind of like what Kanye was doing at the time, and yeah, I started it. And ever since I started at 14, man, that's always what I wanted to do. Every time I tried to do something else, like I'm gonna do this instead, whatever practical options I had on the table, it just wasn't really, you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't really there as far as me loving it the same. So
Yo, talking about money wise, you before we started the interview, you were talking about how like it was you had done so many things for free. Was it like you had gotten the software and then you started like putting money into figuring out everything in the industry, like getting speakers and midis and all that stuff? Was it like that? Was it a slow process into getting all the stuff that you needed?
not even really. I think it was really just the difference between bullshitting and actually meaning what you're saying. Like I've been saying I wanted to make music since I was 14, and I got my first job when I was 15. But when I got that bread, it wasn't going towards a mic. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't going towards a speaker. It wasn't going towards FL. You know what I'm saying? I was getting shoes, I was getting clothes, and shit like that. So I think it was really when you make the decision to take the shit seriously, once you start investing that money, and it's a lot of money to invest.
Yeah.
But once you start investing it, it's like if that's really what you want to do, it'll happen quickly. Because it's like if I come up on $100, and the first thing I think to do with that $100 is, oh, I'm gonna go take my girl out, and I'm gonna go ahead and cop this and cop that. Your $100 gonna be gone before you think, damn, I should have got that VST. I should have got that plugin. I know I needed that shit. I needed that reverb on my shit to make it hit right. But it's like, well, what did you really want to do with it? Because when you got that 100, you wasn't spending that 100 like that's what you really want to do with it.
Right.
So once I took it seriously, it didn't take too long. It take a minute to get to the point where you're taking it seriously. That's the part that take a while.
So would you say it was hard making that mental shift from like, oh, I want to get all these clothes and shoes, like to sacrificing that stuff to forwarding your career?
I don't know if I say it was hard because it's not like necessarily I was trying to get myself to try. Like I wasn't sitting there like, damn, I wish I tried harder. It's like something happened that made it click. And right when that happened, it was like a hard shift. Nah, I ain't fucking with it no more. Like something happened and it made me realize like it's a limited amount of time niggas got to make this actually work for themselves. And it's so much bigger than just like I'm sitting here wasting time. And it's so much bigger than the time that I'm wasting because there's so much that I want to do to help propel myself forward and the people who I came up with forward and just my people in general forward. And I was wasting that time. And I think the second I realized I was wasting my time, it just clicked. And when it clicked, it was like a hard shift. And it wasn't even hard at that point because it was like I was excited for my VST. So when I got that $100, I put it right towards it because that's what I wanted to do.
Whenever you first started doing music and producing and everything, did you think at one point like, oh, this would be something on the side for me to do to get my money up before I do X, Y, and Z, or was it always music? This is it. Nothing else. This is the lane that I need to be in for the rest of my life.
Entertainment in general was that. So music is definitely a means to me to be able to dive into other shit that's going on. I would love to screenwrite. I would love to act. I would love to get into the production side of those films, and that's the shit that I'm kind of starting to bubble with what we're building right now. But it's always been creative outlets, something that's going to allow me to really truly express myself with the ability to connect to other people that might take my expression and then turn it to something else, whatever they take from it. That's always been what I wanted to do. Like I've always wanted to create art and release that art so that other people can get what they need from that art. So whether that's through producing, rapping, writing, acting, whatever fashion, anything I can get in front of that allows me to express that, that's always what I wanted to do. It's always come first for me. It's always gonna come first for me. There's nothing else that I wanted to do more than that.
So you used to be in a hip hop collective called Music from Scratch. How did that process come about? Like, how did they contact you or find you?
Oh, that's a good question. Oh man. So Music from Scratch was a group from Greensboro. At the time, I was rolling with a group called Marvel Force, but at the time we were dancing. This is when like You're a Jerk and Teach Me How to Dougie first came out and shit like that. So where I was, you know what I'm saying? I was in Greensboro. Greensboro had a really big kind of like 90s-esque renaissance during that period. Like niggas was beatboxing again, niggas had boom boxes, niggas was dancing, niggas was like, it was just creative expression was on 10 in Greensboro during that period. At the time, it was kind of like whatever you want to get in front of, get in front of it. If you want to do fashion, if you want to do music, if you want to dance, the whole city was supporting that kind of shit. So I kind of found the opportunity to rap. I was like, damn, like I've always wanted to rap. I've been wanting to rap since I was a kid. And now we're in a period where niggas actually got mics. Niggas actually got the home studios. This is when niggas was recording whole mixtapes in the house for the first time. It started to be possible that if you wanted to be a rapper, you didn't need a record deal. Find a nigga with a mic, you know, you hop on Audacity because that's the shit that niggas was using back there. And you just do what you can do. So Music from Scratch. There was a dude who was in my dance group named Tyler, and he was rapping with these dudes from a school that he went to named Josh and Ricky, and they had a group called Music from Scratch. And I was like, yo, like whatever I got to do to get in with y'all niggas, like just let me do it so I can. I'm trying to, you know, get on some songs. And these niggas, when I first started, didn't let me do shit. Like I'm talking, I would go to sessions, and they'd be like, nah, like it's not time. Like, you know, keep practicing and shit. Like some real heartbreak. I'm like, damn, like the first song I ever did, first time you hear my voice on wax, I'm doing a little tiny ass hook. And I think I say, still got it for you. It's that's the only thing I say on the whole song. Because they ain't trust me to do no more than that. But I fuck with them niggas, man, and I would not even be close to where I am without having that experience. So that's Music from Scratch. Wow, I didn't expect y'all to pull that shit out.
So what were your first impressions when you started producing?
Shit, more than anything, like how do these niggas do this? Like I wanted the first time I knew I wanted to produce had to be when Timbaland had his stretch where he was producing like everything from hip hop to R&B to rock. Like that was the time where he had One Republic, Apologize. He had Omarion with like Icebox and shit like that. And then he was also doing like the shit with like Carrie Hilson So it was kind of Timberland being able to, and I knew that Timberland produced by making a noise with his mouth. Like he'd be like, and then like he would go produce that. And so I was like, my first thoughts was just like, damn, how did these niggas do this? And realizing just how much early on, realizing just how much went into it. And that when I first started, I was like, damn, I really chose the hardest working part of this entire process. And you know, I'm still with it, but that's definitely my first thoughts with it was just how hard it really was to get everything down.
Yo, and then like going forward now, whenever you work with like new artists, like you find someone new to work with, what is the process? Is it you have to know them beforehand before you like become go-to producer?
Yeah.
Like have you had people come to you and like it's just like they start moving on some like bullshit and you're just like, you know what? I don't think we should do this anymore, you know?
I don't know, man. Like something that's interesting about it. Like I'm really big on getting along with people immediately. Like I'm really big on energy, and I'm really big on if I have a new artist coming to work with me for the first time, or even being in an environment where I'm in the same environment and it's work related, I'm giving positive energy off the rip because that shit is contagious. Like you can come in there and you're nervous because you're thinking, oh, I'm meeting Enoch for the first time or I'm working with him. How's this going to go? Is it going to be a creative mesh or is it going to be disruptive? And if you come off that environment and you walk in the room and you all daps and hugs and positive energy and shit, that shit is contagious. And now that person who is just nervous, they're loose. They automatically are loose.
Right.
Because I'm treating people, when I meet people, I treat them like we've been friends for years. Like, nigga, it's just been a minute since we talked. Like, that's how I'm treating, like, that's how I'm treating everybody. So, to me, it's like, that doesn't happen too much, man. There's not usually to me, I'm just, the sooner we can get everybody comfortable, the sooner we can create some dope shit. Because it's only in moments where niggas are really, truly comfortable that they express what's really on their heart. So, to me, it's positive vibes from the jump. It don't take too long. People usually vibe off of it pretty quick. And when it comes to working with people regularly, because I get along so well and I push that positive environment, typically people just come back. So that kind of shit just kind of happens naturally at that point.
Yeah, and then being from or like starting off in the DMV area, like do you still feel like that whole because it's a different sound in the DMV than like anywhere else in the country.
Anywhere
like literally
else,
just
yeah.
like anywhere else. Do you still feel like that connection? Like, okay, you know what? I remember when I was younger, I heard this, that, like it's music sounding like this. And does it translate into, oh, I want to do this just to, you know, homage back to whenever I lived over there?
Nah, it's if I ever got Maryland in my shit or DMV in my shit, typically it wasn't even on purpose. Like it was just like because with DMV it's like you got to be able to move to it. Like no matter
Yeah, it's
what,
that dance
like
dance.
no matter you know what I'm saying. Like no matter what the situation is, you got to move to it. And being from the DMV is kind of weird because you got DC and Go Go is a completely different vibe than Baltimore club. But either way, you're looking at the space. We're not gonna get into those differences because you know what I'm saying. I want to love everybody here, but at the end of the day, you got to be able to move to it. So that just leaks into how I make my records, man. It's just like at the end of the day, no matter what I'm making, I want to be able to play it back, and there got to be some vibe to it. Like niggas got to be able to find a pocket, no matter what. And that's definitely attributed to growing up around DMV.
So, how did Goat City come about?
All right, so like I said, with Greensboro, it was a period where people were really just expressing, and unfortunately, that period did die down. But during the period between it being at its peak and the period of it dying down, I left music from scratch, started some new shit with some friends of mine called Colony. While I was doing Colony, Nasir Ali was a friend of my brother's, but I didn't really know him. But he knew my brother really well. And he had did a remix of a song that I had heard. Not heard him rap before during that period where everybody was kind of rapping. And like he was straight, like he had some potential, but I wasn't really pressing it. And then my brother sent me a remix he did for it was a J. Cole song, Get Off My Dick. He did a remix to Get Off My Dick. And I heard it and he didn't even anticipate me hearing it. He just sent it to my brother. My brother sent it to me. He's like, "Yo, this is Nas," and I heard it, and I was like, "Oh shit, it's a lot. It's a lot there. Like it's a lot to work off there." So I hit him up. I ended up getting him to do some music with us when we were still Colony. When the people in Colony that we started it with started going in different ways, either like not making music no more or taking different roles with what they were doing. Me and Nas kind of just clicked a lot better than anybody else as far as having a similar background, wanting the same shit out of what we were doing. And Go City was really just us making sure that we continued that. And it really started off more so than anything else as kind of like a movement. The idea was we wanted everybody to be able to feel like they could be a member of Go City, which is a playoff gate city for Greensboro. And the idea is that anybody could come in and be a goat of their craft or whatever, and they could feel included in this group. And the only thing that you needed to have that inclusion was the confidence in yourself to be the best at whatever it is you want to do. It had hard work to match it. So that's where Go City kind of formed. And now it's kind of like a collective of rappers, producers, videographers, and shit like that.
Going forward, do you guys think that, or do you see Goat City turning into, I guess, like a mini in-house like label for itself, in the sense of like y'all won't need to go anywhere else besides like within the crew to get anything done?
That's the goal ultimately. Trying to avoid making it a business as much as we can, just because with when you make it a business, a lot of shit changes. It's just natural, and no matter how much niggas want, the vibe to be the priority, business is a business, and so that business shit seeps in, and it gets a little bit more complicated. Our goal is that whenever you need something, I need a beat, I need a videographer, you got somebody for right now. Like you just got to get a brand out, and you could be your label. Labels help with touring. That's probably the biggest thing. It's like you need the budget. Labels help with having money for a budget. You don't need it. So Go City for right now, the emphasis is just having a resource for something that you need until you need a bigger resource.
Yeah.
If it gets to a point where it's a label, it's just because niggas are making a lot of money and they want to put back towards it and really want to push this thing forward together. We're open to it. It doesn't have to go in that direction until it has to go in that direction, though. So right now, we're just cool with it as a collective.
Personally, would you be open to the idea, like if a label approached you to start being like an in-house producer for that label, would you be interested in entertaining that, or would it be more so of like, nah, I'm cool with what I already have over here?
It depends on the opportunity. I'm real savvy on the documentation and shit. So if I'm fucking with a label and they want me to come in and be an in-house producer for a term length agreement, so we're talking term length either being an allotted amount of time or a certain amount of records, then that's definitely a possibility because that's just a job. It's not saying like that job wouldn't be integral for me to get further in my career. That's how I would look at it, but it's still work. And I'm working regardless with what I'm doing right now. So that's just trading a job for a job. That means I got to compare pay. I got to compare benefits. I got to compare what I'm gaining and what I'm losing. If the opportunity is a good opportunity for an amount of time that makes me feel like I'm not sacrificing my whole career for it, absolutely. I'm 100% open to any opportunity that's on the table. But I said, labels got to understand that I understand this shit.
We like before we started the interview, we were talking about how the internet is just like he's literally made anything and everything possible, like especially in the music industry. What part of creating beats and like obviously distribution and outreach is like a lot easier on the internet now, rather than like you having like pass out a beat tape or like make sure that you're in everyone's ear, like, hey bro, I make beats, like you want to hear this beat? But like overall, like what aspect of the internet have you I want to say, I guess, capitalized on? Like, is it the selling side, like being able to like market yourself, or is it just making connections?
Making connections, man. At the end of the day, like if I put all my dollars and all my fuck dollars, if I put all my efforts into getting more followers, And my mentality in getting more followers was I wanted to get more followers so that my posts got more likes on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dumbass fucking strategy. Like my whole thing is like, if you investing in shit, it needs to be in the people that believe in what you got going on. Like at the end of the day, Apple became Apple because niggas believed in the vision of Apple. Like I'm not doing this shit for numbers. Like I'm doing this shit because I know for a fact I've touched people's lives with what the fuck I'm doing. And I know for a fact there are other people like those people that need to hear it still. Because I was one of those people that needed to hear it. So fuck it. Like, in my opinion, like that the internet has made it possible to connect to people. Whatever platform you use to do it, that's the most valuable thing that shit brings. That and free information. Fucking free information. It's right there. Like, right there.
Do you find yourself, because I know I started, was it my the end of freshman year when I was doing when Joey was like pirating FL Studio, helping me get FL Studio.
We got that about out of the post.
It's fine, we can take it out, bro. It's whatever, bro. Yeah. So it was like our freshman year of college. I had one of my friends help me get FL Studio for a fair price. And like we did me and Mike made a beat. That hoe will never see the day of light, bro. It has been deleted from my computer and is only on my Snapchat, still like saved in my like Snapchat memories. Will never be posted anywhere.
It's gonna say there's no reliving that.
Oh man, it's rough. We watch it from time to time. And it's just like, damn, we really thought this shit was hard.
We got hyped to it. It was absolute trash.
That's the best shit though. The best shit is when you go back and listen to it. You're like, damn. But in the moment, that shit.
It was just like
yeah.
But like going, I don't even remember what the fuck I was about to ask you. Damn. I think it was some so like with the internet. Oh, do you find yourself kind of like looking up tutorials? Because I know I was like really into Curtis King and
yeah. Curtis is a genius, man. With the way he maneuvered his fan base into the most. I like Curtis. I fuck with what Curtis got going on, bro. Hell yeah. Like, but I don't know. I don't know shit. I feel like I done made so much progress, and then like I'm watching a fucking tutorial, and they do like a shortcut, which is literally 2 keys, and in 2 keys they did something that was taking me like 15 minutes to do before. Like, I don't know shit, bro. Like FL got so much to do with it, and I don't just use FL. So learning like Pro Tools at the same time, Ableton at the same time, Logic. I hop on GarageBand if I'm looking for a certain sound. So it's like I really fuck with that free information shit, bro. Like if there's anything you need to learn how to do, like damn, I just really want my kick to sound real bouncy. Like how do I make this kick sound real bouncy? Go to YouTube, type in how do I make this kick sound bouncy, FL Studio. It's like 1,500 niggas trying to get your attention, and all they want to do is give you this information so that you subscribe to their channel so that YouTube pays them for doing this shit for you. Like, it's all right there. So I think anybody who got their head up their ass enough to not look up YouTube tutorials, you just holding yourself back, bro. Because literally everything is on there. Like everything.
And on top of that, you can like just DM people on Twitter too. Like they're willing to help.
Bro, like these people fucking love it. That's literally what they make their bread off of. They wake up, they go produce some shit, and they're like, how can I bring value to the producer community with my? And the thing is, if there's anything that you have figured out in any of these programs, and you realize that no one else knows how to do it but you, and you don't disclose that free information, you a dickhead. And my whole thing is like. My whole thing is like I feel like the majority of the community feels that way. And so if you ever need help and you reach out to these producers and there's thousands of them, probably like hundreds of thousands. I mean, nationwide, millions, to be honest, like hit them up. Like they love helping. Like that's literally what they do this shit for. I help whenever niggas have shit that they need to know, and hit me in the DMs if I see it, I get to it. Like as a community, for the most part, bro, like the information is out there. You just got to go get it. And it don't even take long. It take like 2 minutes, like max. Like 120 seconds.
Break that down in the milliseconds real quick.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it, but it'd be that way.
Yo, you talking about how you know FL, Ableton, GarageBand. Whenever you go into a session with an artist, do you ask them what their preferred software is, or do you just go with whatever sound you're specifically looking for?
Great ass question. It depends on the artist. If I'm talking to somebody who I know is a producer, like say it's like somebody comes in and they're a producer, and I know that the intent of our collaboration is to make the song from scratch together, then I might coordinate with them and figure out what program is best for them. I'm best at FL. And I think for the most part, most producers have like a preference. Like even if they might know all of them in their head at the same amount, everybody still has a preference. And it's always gonna just be coming down to generally like what you started off with or like what you spend the most time using. So I always like will ask to see if there is a preference. But generally it's not really necessary. Like you can really bounce sounds and shit between the softwares and your DAW is real fucking easy. So we try to stick with just the vibe. Like just focus on what you're trying to go for the song. Because the second you start thinking about all the steps and the shit you got to do to technically make everything work, that shit turns the creative side of your brain off. Like, because now you're in the technical side of your brain and you're trying to calculate how to solve problems and shit. When all we're trying to do when we get in a session together is like really get to feel each other and get that energy going so we can know what this shit is even going to be in the first place.
Have you ever had like people come into the studio to work and they're just like they don't really know what they want, so they're just like, oh, just surprise me.
Make some fire.
Hell yeah, but yeah, just start. Yeah, generally, if people don't know what the fuck vibe they trying to go on. Fortunately, like I make beats a lot, so I got a lot of shit just archived, like a whole folder of beats that I know I'm not gonna rap on. And like I said, I don't make my shit for like BeatStar and shit. So with no knock to doing that, it's just not how I don't make my shits for that. So I archive my shits. And so if anybody ever comes in and they're like, I don't really know what vibe to go on, like I kind of just want to see what you bouncing off, I'll just play some beats. And I have them all kind of separated to where I know what vibe each beat got. So I'll just play whatever vibe I'm feeling. If you're not feeling no way, I know typically I'm feeling no way. I'm a very sensitive nigga. So I be tapping in, figuring out how the fuck I feel, and I'll just play off some beats that I've already made that match that vibe and see if we can just catch something.
Whenever you make your own songs, like, would you prefer to use your own beats, or is it like there's somebody that you're like, hey, bro, like it's time for me to make my song. I need you to go ahead and produce for me.
Yeah. Funny enough, it really depends on the vibe. I really enjoy rapping to other people's beats. For one, it's a lot more creative to me. Like if I'm producing a beat and then rapping on that beat, the top and the bottom of that creative process, for the most part, is me. And as dope as that might be, I like collaborating. I like mixing energies together because that's what a true art is. And so I like rapping other people's beats. I like finding pockets in other people's beats. But sometimes the energy of what I'm trying to go for a track, especially if it's like an emotional track or something personal, I'll do the beat myself because I know that I don't really want to mesh. I don't want to mesh energies on a track that I'm making for me. You know what I mean? So it really just depends on the track. But I'm definitely down to rap other people's beats for sure.
Real generic question, but like per in your preference, is it you would rather go into the studio to rap, or would you rather go into the studio to make beats?
Man, it depends on the day. Most of the time producing, especially if I'm collaborating, just because when it comes to rapping, depending on the nature of a track or the nature of how the session is going, it could get competitive. More often than not, when I'm making songs with people, we're trying to talk about something that's a little bit deeper than just barring off and going back and forth on some bar shit. So typically I'm producing, and because I'm trying to set that tone, and a lot of artists appreciate having a producer help them set a tone. It's one of the biggest things that we do in that creative process. So producing is what I'm normally doing most of the time, what I prefer to do.
Going forward, do you want like are there specific like big name artists or just like artists in the area or artists that you know of that you're like that like I want to hear what they sound like on my beats? Like who are those people that you're who?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was.
Oh, I thought you
Got
said
another
B
background
like
going on.
Beyonce, and I was just like,
No.
I mean, like if you really just if that's what you think, I mean,
It's the number one being on. So you asking like who I would like to do like a song for, like I'm
yeah,
producing?
yeah,
It's a lot. Like I kind of have shifted my view on that a lot recently. Definitely as of late, the more I start to kind of build a buzz and the more I start to interact with and also be mentioned in conversations with this up and coming crowd. Now I want to work with a lot more of them. Before, generic answers like, "Oh, fucking Kendrick, fucking J. Cole, that'd be great." We're like, no fucking shit. But like, if we're talking about people who I definitely would love to create with, like if I did a song with Kendrick, that nigga would be sunning me the whole time. Like I'd be in there, like, "Oh, I got this little beat," and he like, "Oh shit, that's dope." Like, let's let fucking Soundwave do some additional production, and then like before my like, it
you're,
be like.
you're sitting in the corner like, oh, okay,
Like the whole time, I'm just
Wow,
like,
there's
and
a
I'm
lot of
I'm
people that
learning
can
a lot.
take
I'm
that.
fucking with it. It's Kendrick and Soundwave, but at the end of the day, like I don't know how intimate that session would be.
right,
But if I'm fucking with a nigga who's up and coming like myself, or that's just in a similar bracket as myself, I know we got the same upbringing. Like there's rappers coming up right now that I feel that way about. Definitely. If we're talking about people that blew up like around me, like, bro, baby's from Charlotte.
yeah,
Like seeing this nigga was baby Jesus. Like and we like North Carolina knew him as that. And I went to school at ECU and I had people from Charlotte the time he was blowing up. So it was like seeing that shit happen just made it feel possible for Carolina niggas. The funniest part is a lot of the niggas who I want to collaborate with coming up, especially all was on that fucking Revenge of the Dreamers 3
yes,
shit. Like I
sir.
wanted to work with Smino. I wanted to work with motherfucking King Mez, bad as shit. I heard King Mez on Compton and I was like, yo, this nigga barring out. That nigga said, trying to get my Xbox to Red Ring of Death niggas. And I was like, yo, that's a different kind of nigga right there. Yo. Yo, that's a different kind of nigga. So pretty much like everybody in that bracket, there's a ton of different lo-fi artists who are starting to do a thing where they're rapping on these lo-fi beats that I would love to work with. I think the mesh of lo-fi and hip hop going on right now as far as rappers, that integration is dope. I think Boss is doing a lot for
Yeah,
that. I think FKJ is doing a lot for that. Um, yeah, it's a lot of people. Boss definitely. Oh, Boss got to be like top two. Boss might be top two, not two, honestly. Um, shit, it's a lot of niggas. That's just some people off the top of my head thinking about the question.
yo, would you ever like if you ever got like you got that golden ticket for Revenge of the Dreamers 4? Would you like? Is it just what? Fuck my job. I'm gonna just go. Like,
Oh yeah, fuck it. Like I don't care what the fuck is going on. Like it could literally be like my girlfriend's birthday, and I'm like, hey baby, like look,
I'm doing this
hey,
for us. I swear.
hey, hey, you get a birthday once a year, okay? Once a year you get a birthday. You know what I'm saying? That means you're gonna have a lot more birthdays. There ain't gonna be a lot more Revenge of the Dreamers. You know what I'm saying? Like that's germane. You know what I'm saying? I got a like I'm bouncing. I'm gone. I'm
You can
gone.
listen to
I'm
Revenge of the
sorry.
Dreamers 4 on your next birthday.
Look.
You know what I'm saying? And my whole thing is like the second that shit drop, I'm pretty sure she's not gonna give a single fuck about that
She's
birthday.
gonna
Right.
be
Like that's
on social
really
media boosting you, bro.
on gas, bro. Like she with it. She like, yo, like that he on Revenge of the Dreamers 4. We didn't even know there was gonna be a fourth one, but he on it. Like that's the important part.
Would you ever think about doing like the same concept but with Goat City and then just inviting other niggas that y'all like know and like ask for verses from people that wouldn't be able to fly in or whatever?
Man, I want to. I think it'll happen eventually. There has to be like a die down period from Revenge of the Dreamers,
Right,
just
right.
because the nature of hip hop is like, oh, like they fighting. But if you really look at what J. Cole did and what Eve did as a whole, they want that to continue. It's actually like J. Cole actually said that. Like the reason he did it was to inspire people to do it more. I think I think if we get to a point where because that shit used to be fucking
Yeah,
regular.
yeah.
Like Wu Tang, fucking you talk about Hot Boys, you talking about Outkast being a part of Dungeon
Yes,
Family.
sir.
Like over the course of hip hop, there was more strength in numbers. Like that's been the case. And then like Lord bless him. Kendrick came through and kind of fucked it up for everybody for a little bit, and everybody got like, like everybody was getting along. Like Young Money was doing great, and then Kendrick was just like, yo, like you're some pussy ass bitches, and I'm on top of this shit. And niggas went heavy. Fuck it, I'm by myself. I'm in my own little bubble. J. Cole stopped doing features.
Right.
Like, and I think if we don't get to a point where niggas are collaborating more, like Dormville did on Revenge of the 3, as a community, we fail. And I think everybody knows that. I think if you look at what's happened since that shit even became a movement, like more collaborations have been happening. People have been reaching out to other people because now things are possible. Fucking Childish Gambino was on a 21 Savage album. I would not have been able to tell you that was going to be the case when I was watching Community. Like that don't make sense to me. like no, bro. Like I heard EP like when he first dropped it. Like I listened to Camp. Like I did not think that this nigga was gonna be on a fucking 21 Savage album. But like this is where we at. So hell yeah, I'm probably do some shit like that. Fuck it, I would feel like I'm doing a disservice to music and a disservice to my city if I did. So that'll probably happen for sure.
Like kind of like piggybacking off of what you said. I remember I was watching. It was one of those. I think it was Hip Hop Evolution, or it was what's the other one? One of those Netflix hip hop like docu series where they just like go around asking people from like old heads just like what their experience and stuff was. But it was I want to say it was Q-Tip, and he was talking about how like they just had literally like every producer like they rented out a hotel, and they would get like the convention room, and they would just like go and buy like just massive amounts of like records, and they would have all the producers come and just do big ass crate digs. And I'm just like and he was talking about how like competitive that shit was. Like you wanted to be in line first because you ain't want so and so to go ahead and grab your shit. Like you ain't want nobody to know exactly where you were hiding anything. And I mean, like I don't know, like that shit just seems like that would be fun as hell. Just like find some old record store and be like, all right, all y'all niggas need to come in and buy your shit. You get a $10 or $30 limit or something like that, depending on like what everything is like scaled at, and then have them enter a competition, and then whoever wins whoever's throwing the competition, obviously it's like pay to enter or enter to pay. You know what I mean? Fuck. But like, you know what I'm saying, they get like half the pot, and they get all the clearance that they need to like put that beat out. And then bro, hold on, I came up on something, bro. Y'all think it's someone gonna listen to this shit and steal it, bro. I swear to God.
The craziest part is how possible that shit is, man. Like all the damn record, like there's a record store here in Charlotte called Lunchbox Records. You can literally just hit up a bunch of Charlotte producers and be like, yo, like let's go do that shit. Like the fact that shit like that is so fucking possible. And I thought, did either of y'all watch the documentary for Revenge of the Dreamers 3?
Yeah, bro, I watched it twice. I watched the whole twice.
So my thing is, bro, like even in watching that documentary, I was thinking like, damn, like they could have given me 3 hours of this shit, and I would have enjoyed every fucking minute. Like I would have even enjoyed seeing more of those creative energies mix and how that process went. And like when J. Cole was arguing, what I think T Minus at the time over like the BPM of a beat or some stupid shit like that. Like my whole thing is
for Middle Child, he was like, "Oh, bro, no one's ever heard it." Yeah, I was like, bro, shut up, just give it to me. Damn.
My whole thing is I wanted to see more of that. Right. Like I know damn well there was periods during that fucking session where a nigga was like pissed because he couldn't record. He got into an argument with another. Like that shit is so fucking raw, and it turns into such fucking beautiful music that I wish niggas did more shit like that. And the fact that we have YouTube and we have Instagram Live, Facebook Live, fucking TikTok even at this point, like documenting this shit and getting it out has never been easy. Like a nigga could take 2 hours on a Saturday and get that record store shit done. Like, I don't know, man. I'm telling you, bro, it's so easy to do shit and niggas still don't do shit.
So our last question before we let you go. Who are you currently listening to right now? Who's in your playlist?
That's a good question. I listen to a lot of different shit, so it's definitely all over the place, especially right now. I fuck with Hollywood's Bleeding a lot, like that whole album. So I've been listening to that album a lot recently. Dreamville still is on my rotation. Been listening to a lot of Thug. I've been listening to a lot of Boss. I've been listening to a lot of Earl. I've been listening to a lot of Isaiah Rashad because he's about to drop a project, and I feel like TDE is about to have like a wave come. Like that shit is on the way. Like Kendrick been quiet for too long. I feel like something about to pop off. So I've been listening to a lot of TDE because them niggas play this shit like it's chess. So I've been listening to a lot of Money Man too. I don't know if anybody out there is listening to Money Man heavy, but listening to a lot of Money Man. It's all over the place. But those are the ones. Alchemist a lot. I've been trying to study Alchemist recently, and what he got going on. So I've been a lot of him, a lot of Two North. I've been listening to a lot. So yeah, that's probably dominating my ox chord at the moment.
Yo, we appreciate you coming on, bro. We appreciate the conversation. Honestly, this shit was fun as hell, bro.
Hey man, I appreciate y'all having me, man. Y'all niggas cool as hell. I'm gonna keep fucking with y'all, bro. I appreciate y'all reaching out. Keep doing this shit, like what y'all doing right now. Like I fuck with it heavy. I think more people should do it. Y'all niggas got hella fucking personality. Y'all definitely got good chemistry. Y'all niggas talk like y'all. How long y'all known each other?
3 years,
3 since freshman year of college. This was junior year of college.
Yeah, y'all niggas talk like y'all been around each other since like grade school. Like keep this shit up, bro. I appreciate y'all having me on for real.
Peace.
All right, y'all have a good one.